Hi everybody, Katie Neal here. Welcome to this gentle prenatal class designed for expectant people who are in any stage of their pregnancy. I have some props here. I have a yoga bolster and I have a blanket. This is just a blanket off of my sofa. And then I also have some foam bricks. If you don't have these things in your house, that's okay. You can do what I did here and grab a blanket off your couch, or a bath towel works good here. If you don't have foam bricks, sometimes a couple of heavy books about the same height can suffice. And if you don't have a bolster, you might grab a couple bed pillows off of your bed, or even throw pillows off of the couch can be helpful. Either one is fine. So we're going to start class today by building a little bit of support here. I'm going to take my two bricks and I'm going to use the first one at the top of the mat where my head's going to be, and I'm going to use it on its high side. I call this hot dog style. And then the second brick I'm going to use on its lowest height. I call this hamburger style. And I'm going to place this brick about 4 or 5 inches from this other brick. Excuse me while I scooch. Okay, so this is my setup so far. Now I'm going to grab my bolster, or if you're using them, you can use couch pillows or bed pillows. And I'm going to set these on my bricks. So I'm making what kind of looks like a ski slope here. To use this prop, and the rationale why I'm doing this is regardless of where you are in your pregnancy, even if you're just in your first trimester and you're not concerned yet about laying back on the spine, that this is a good habit to start to cultivate if you plan to practice yoga throughout your pregnancy so that you are not laying on the spine for long periods of time. Now I set my hips right back to my prop here, and I'm actually going to hold on to my prop, tuck my chin towards my chest, and gently lay back on my ski slope on my props that I've created here. And I've got my legs crossed, crisscross applesauce here. But if you'd like to bring your feet together for a butterfly shape, that's fine. Or if you would like to have your legs out long, maybe separate the feet a little wider than the mat, that's fine too. And I'm going to allow my hands to rest down by my sides. Maybe you bring your hands to rest on your belly, maybe gently making contact with your baby here. Closing the eyes and just starting to welcome ourselves to this gentle practice, coming home to the mat. Starting to feel the support of the props underneath you and the solidity of the floor underneath you, and just knowing that you are in a place that is safe and held. Feeling the texture of the mat on the places where it touches the back of your skin, maybe the back of the legs, back of the feet, back of the hands. Giving yourself a moment to check in with your body. Let's look at that most external layer first, that layer of the physical body. Are there any places in your body that feel tender? And if there are, just give yourself a moment to acknowledge them, maybe places that you need to be a little gentle with today. And then give yourself a moment to notice if anything feels fantastic, if there's places in your body that just feel really good. Check in with larger places like the hips and the low back, the shoulders. But also check in with smaller places like the fingers and the toes, the jaw, the space in between the eyebrows where we tend to show our worries and concerns. And then starting to bring attention to the breath. If you haven't already, start to notice first your natural breath. Are you breathing through your nose or through your mouth? If you're breathing through your nose, is one nostril more dominant? And then start to create this longer inhale, taking a long inhale through the nose, giving time and place for that complete inhale. And then exhale to let it go. Come all the way to the very bottom of the breath until you feel like the lungs are very empty. And then do that again. Nice long, complete inhale, taking in oxygen, bathing cells in oxygen. And then exhale, come all the way to the bottom of the breath, releasing carbon dioxide. Taking in what is good and what is kind and what is nourishing. And then giving time to let go of what you no longer need. Letting the breath be easy and gentle, not creating heat in the body here with the breath, just using the breath as an anchor to keep us grounded here in the practice, especially if the mind wants to wander. And now let's start to add some movement here, starting to link the breath and movement, creating that yoga, creating that union. So if they're not already there, let's draw the soles of the feet to the mat and let the kneecaps point towards the ceiling. We'll inhale to let the arms sweep up. Let the biceps come alongside the ears. Fingertips reach long behind you. Get long through your side bodies. Let's make some room in between the ribs. And then exhale to release the hands back down to your sides. Let's make this slow and gentle, like the room is filled with molasses. When we come to the bottom of the breath, let the body puddle down like butter on warm bread. And then do this again. Inhale, let the arms sweep up. Big breath in. Gather as much air as you can. Come all the way to the top of the breath. Reach through those fingertips. And then exhale, let the hands come back down to your side slowly and gently, letting the body melt down. I had a student a couple weeks ago say like hot fudge on a Sunday. So if that appeals to you, you can use that imagery. Let's do this one more time. Inhale, let the arms sweep up. Now this time with the exhale, let's draw the right knee into the chest. Both hands come to the right knee. Now holding on to the right knee is uncomfortable, and it is a little bit for me. You can hold on to the back of the thigh, and sometimes that just creates a little more room. And let's start here with the distal joints, the joints furthest away from the center of the body, starting with the toes. So let's give some movement to the toes. Wiggle your toes, and then let's move this right ankle. Right ankle moves one way and then the other. See if there's any pops or clicks here. Again, just bringing fluidity to these joints, to these muscles. And then bringing stillness back to the right foot and ankle. Let's bring some movement to the right knee. So maybe you make some side-to-side movements here. Or maybe it feels nice to make some small circles here, kind of like you're starting to stir the right hip joint with the right femur bone. Maybe you circle one way and then the other. Again, bringing some fluidity into this hip. Remembering the breathing. And now let's bring this right knee back to center, back to stillness. I'm going to hold on to the back of my right thigh with my right hand. I'm going to release my hold of my left hand. Let my left hand come back down to my side. Let's open this right knee up towards the right armpit, any amount, getting into the inner thigh and groin here. And now for some people, it feels best just to stay here, just to let gravity and the weight of your own body work on the muscles of the inner thigh and groin. And for other people, it feels nice to just make some small, subtle movements here. Sometimes it's not big movements, okay? And sometimes it doesn't take a lot of movement to change the sensation of the posture. But listening to what feels nice for you in your hips with your body. And now let's inhale to draw this right knee back to center. Releasing the hold on the right knee. Let's extend that right foot long. And then we're going to let the right ankle bone come down to rest on the left knee, coming to our reclined pigeon variation. Pausing here to just kind of check out what's going on in the right hip. We're talking about the glutes, about piriformis, that muscle down close to the pelvic bone, a little bit into the outer thigh here, depending on your body, depending on how you hold your tension. And let's just take a couple breaths here. Just sending some light, sending some breath to that right hip. And maybe it feels nice to just subtly move side to side here. You don't have to if you don't want to, okay? But if it feels nice to just welcome in some gentle swaying motion here, you're welcome to do that. And then coming back to stillness, back to center. Let's release this right foot back down to the floor to join the left. Let's separate the feet just about as wide as the hips, and we'll drop the knees side to side. Both knees go one way, and then both knees go the other way, like windshield wipers on your car, okay? Just offering this gentle counter pose for the hips and pelvis. Staying connected to that breath. We haven't left that breath teacher. And then drawing the knees back to center. When you feel like you've had a nice balance between right and left, let's draw the knees back to center. And we'll heel toe the feet back into alignment with the glutes. We're going to take these movements to the other side. So inhale to let the arms sweep up, let the biceps come alongside your ears. Fingertips reach and extend. Keeping the core muscles gently engaged, let's draw that left knee in towards center. And you might have to bring this left knee a little out to the side to accommodate the belly. If that's you, that's fine. And then again, let's just start here with the gentle movement of the toes, just moving the most distal joints, just the toes. And then move your left ankle, circle the left ankle one way and then circle it the other way. And then bringing stillness back to the foot and ankle, let's offer some gentle movement to this left knee. Now I'm going to hold on to the back of my left thigh because that was my comfortable hold. And just offer some side to side movement, maybe some small circles. Maybe we circle one way and then the other way. How's the left side compared to the right? What are you finding out about your body? And then let's bring this left knee back to center. Let the left hand stay here with the left knee. Right hand comes down to the side. Let's open this left knee up towards the left armpit, any amount. And again, stay stationary here, or if it suits you, you can make some small subtle movements, maybe just some back and forth movements or some subtle side to side, some small circles, okay? And then drawing this left knee back to center, releasing the hold on the leg. Let's extend that left leg long, and we'll bring the ankle bone on the left side to rest on the right knee. Hands come down on either side. And we're going to pause here a moment. Laterality is a thing with the hips. It's not uncommon to have one side feel different than the other. And that can have to do with a lot of things, with your gait, with how much you drive. We do all of our driving with our right foot. It can have to do with prior injury. And so just taking a moment to notice any difference between right and left, taking a moment to appreciate it, to acknowledge it. And then staying here, if this feels nice to you, to stay stationary, or maybe you welcome in some of those small sways here, just gentle side to side, giving some gentle opening movements to the left hip. Now, if you are moving like I am, let's come back to center here, bringing the right leg back to center, the knee in line with the hip. And let's bring the sole of the left foot back down to the floor to join the right so that both feet are on the mat. We'll separate the feet just about as wide as the mat. And one more time, let's offer that gentle side to side windshield wiper twist here, just giving that gentle counter pose to the hips. And when you feel like you've had a nice balance between right and left, the hips and the pelvis are feeling pretty good, let's draw the knees back to center. Let the kneecaps point towards the ceiling. Now, from here, let's allow the soles of the feet to start to heel toe towards each other, walking the feet closer together. And then allow the soles of the feet to touch. Let the knees come out to the side like butterflies' wings. Now, this, for some people, can be a place where additional support is helpful. And you're welcome to add a couch pillow underneath either knee, or if you have extra bricks or books, you can put bricks or books underneath the knee, especially if there's any kind of pinching sensation in the SI joint, that space where the sacrum and the hip bone come together in the back. If there's any tenderness there, feel free to support that associated knee with a prop. So if it's the right hip that feels tender, support the right knee. Hands can be down by your sides, hands can rest on your belly. Or if it would feel nice, we can bring the arms up overhead. And gently hold opposite elbows. In any of these shapes, whatever you're doing with your hands, maybe you tuck your shoulder blades down like you're putting them in the back pockets of your jeans and widen out across the front of the chest. Taking some time here to let the breath awareness go low into the body to the space of the pelvis, that space of creation, of wisdom. I know that you breathe with your lungs, and you know that you breathe with your lungs, but what I'm talking about here is the sensation and the energy of the breath moving down low into the body. Even maybe imagining that you can breathe around your baby. Now, to come out of this pose, if you have a bind like I do, let's release that bind. And then let's all bring the right hand under the right near thigh, the left hand under the left near thigh, and use the strength of your hands to help you draw the knees back to center, bringing the soles of the feet back to the floor. Now, there's a couple ways to come off of these props. The first would be to tuck your chin towards your chest and use your hands for support and just sit up. For some people, it's going to be easier, though, to turn over to one side. I'm going to turn over to my right side. Use the hands for support against the floor, and then come up to your comfortable seat. Take a minute to adjust clothing here. I'm going to move these props out of the way for now. And one thing about doing yoga and doing a yoga class where we are using props, part of cultivating mindfulness during our practice is being aware of where our props are. So just taking these off to the side. I'm actually going to scoot a little more this way, so I'm a little more centered on your screen. And I am going to reach for my blanket here. Now, for some people, when we come to a seated posture, it helps to elevate the hips just a little bit. And sometimes just an inch or so of height underneath the hips can feel really helpful. It's almost just like a little perch. Sitting up nice and tall. Now, we want to do two things here. The first is that we want to feel the hip bones connect down to our prop or connect down to the floor. And sometimes that takes a little movement, and sometimes it actually means bringing a hand back and moving the flesh up and back a little bit on either side, and sometimes that can help us feel more rooted through the hip bones. The second thing is posture. We want to be sitting up nice and tall. We'll put the shoulders down into their natural sockets and thinking about the space of the heart over the space of the belly. Now, I know that the space of the navel is changing as your belly changes, but think about that general trajectory of that long, straight spine, okay? Taking a moment, maybe closing the eyes. If you're closing your eyes, you'll be able to see and feel, more feel than see, excuse me, where the shoulders are in relationship to the hips. And if you are leaning forward or back subtly, just bring those gentle corrections to bring the hips over, to bring the shoulders over the hips. Now let's give some attention to the neck. Let's bring the chin down towards the chest, just taking a moment to enjoy the flexion here in the back of the neck. And then using your inhale, when you're ready, let's bring the right ear to the right shoulder. And then use your exhale to bring your chin down towards your chest, creating this kind of half circle, half moon shape, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder. And then let's do this again. Exhale, the chin comes forward. We create this kind of half circle, half moon, bringing the right ear to the right shoulder. Now pause here just a minute with the right ear and right shoulder close. Let's take a moment here and just make some gentle nodding motions. Really careful of your neck. Nod the head yes. And then bringing the chin back to neutral. Let's shake the head no just a couple times. Again, really careful, really gentle with your neck. And then bringing the chin back to neutral. Let's allow the chin to loll forward, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder. Staying here, let's offer some gentle nodding yes shapes here. And then some gentle shaking the head no. Careful with the neck. And then bringing the chin back to neutral. Let's allow the chin to loll forward, coming halfway down here, bringing the chin towards the chest. And then let's inhale to draw the gaze back to center, lifting the eyes. Let's bring some gentle rolling motions to the shoulders here. So maybe you pick your shoulders up and you send them forward. I kind of habitually send mine back first, but you can move them whatever way suits you. Okay, forward, back, one at a time if that feels nice. Okay, we're just kind of communicating with these muscles here in the shoulder girdle, saying, hey, we're going to use you. Postures like down dog, postures like warrior two. Good. Now, shrug the shoulders up like you're saying, I don't know. And let the shoulders settle back down into their natural sockets. From here, let's inhale to let the arms sweep up. Big breath in, pick up your lower ribs. Let your right hand come down to the mat. Inhale and extend through those left fingertips, coming to a seated side stretch. Keep this hip down, this left hip. Keep this left hip down. Let the stretch come through the ribs, through the outer abdominals. Let's breathe in here, and with the exhale, bring that left hand down to the mat. Inhale, the right arm lifts. Bringing the bicep alongside the ears, fingertips reach, keeping that right hip down. Breathe in here with the exhale. Let's release that right hand down to the mat. We're going to do this one more time on each side. So inhale to let that left arm lift, bicep alongside the ear, fingertips reach. Breathe in here with the exhale, release that hand down. One more time. Inhale, let the right arm reach, bicep alongside the ear, fingertips reach, hips stay planted. Exhale, release that right hand down. Now drawing the fingertips to the shoulders, so the elbows are kind of pointing out to your sides. Let's start to make some circles with these elbows, keeping the fingertips connected to the shoulders. We're going to do this for a couple breath cycles here. And the first couple, you're like, nah, this was okay, no big deal. And the more that we do this, the more we start to feel that we're using some muscles through the shoulders, even the upper arms. And this becomes important as you start to prepare for your baby to come earthside, because we need to have strong arms to carry the baby accessories. There's going to be a lot of holding. And so we need to make sure that we're building strength through the upper body. Let's take the circles the opposite direction. Remember to keep breathing. Just preparing those welcoming arms. Go back the initial way. Okay, so changing the movement again. Now take a breath in, bringing the arms back to stillness. With your exhale, release the fingertips back down to the floor. Inhale to let the arms sweep up. Big breath in. And with the exhale, let's offer a gentle forward fold here. And you might have to separate the feet a little wider, lifting up the lower ribs. Exhale, keeping a fairly flat back coming forward. You're going to get this message from the thighs that say, that's what you've got. When you get there, don't go further than that. Let your hands fall where they fall. And when you found your safe and comfortable stretch, let your chin come towards your chest and just rest here. Maybe even taking a moment to imagine that somebody that you trust has come behind you and they put their hands on your upper back on either side of your spine. Imagine that you can breathe into those hands at your upper back, creating a back body breath. Imagining that you can breathe into the back part of your lungs. And then let's use the hands for support against the floor or against the mat. Walk your hands back towards your body, keeping a fairly flat back to come up. We'll bring the feet back to a comfortable position. You can sit cross-legged or you can sit in a butterfly shape. And here's some options. Now, if your shoulders are tender, you can bring your hands to your hips like you're mad. If your shoulders are safe, let's make fists out of the hands and sit them down on the floor or on your blanket behind you. In either shape, we're going to roll the shoulders back, lifting the heart, lifting the sternum, letting the gaze look towards the ceiling. If your hands are down on the floor or down on your blanket, you can push down into your hands to help you lift your heart even further. We're taking the spine in the opposite direction from that forward fold. Breathe in here, and with the exhale, Draw the hands back to heart center to the sign of prayer. From here, we're going to move into a hands and knees posture. Now, some people can just roll forward from this cross-legged posture. For me, that's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. So I bring my knees over to one side and use my hands for support. Now, this is a nice time to make any adjustments for comfort. So maybe you need to adjust your clothing, pull your pants up, pull your shirt down, or maybe you need to do something different with your hair. This is a good time to do that. If your knees are tender, you can use your blanket as a kneeling pad here to add a little bit of support if you find that the knees are a little bit sensitive, okay? I am going to set my blanket off to the side. And let's align the joints. We'll bring the wrists back underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Tops of the feet will rest on the mat. We'll take a few rounds of cat and cow here. So let's inhale to lift the heart, lift the gaze, let the tail lift. And then with your exhale, bring your chin towards your chest, hold your belly in and make that angry Halloween cat. And let's do this again. Inhale, sink down into Seki cow. And then exhale, push back into that angry Halloween cat. Let's do this a few times, just following your own breath, enjoying your inhales and exhales. Try to use your full breath cycle. Try not to feel rushed. Now, wherever you are here in the cycle of breath and movement, just do one more of each shape. One more cat and one more cow, or one more cow and one more cat. And then bring your spine back to this long neutral spine, this flat back. Let's allow the big toes to come closer together. They might even touch. We'll let the knees come out to a V and sink the hips down towards the heels, taking our first child's pose. Maybe it feels nice to gently sway the hips side to side here, allowing those inner thighs to lengthen. It might feel nice to stack one hand on top of the other and bring your forehead down to your hands like you're making a pillow. And anytime we're in a yoga class and we bring our gaze down towards our own bodies or down towards the mat, it's a really nice time just to come back to our intention, to come back to our breathing. Sometimes it's a nice time to rest, or if it is part of your practice, this is a nice time to pray. Whatever this time is, whatever you need, this is a great time to just be still. And then let's inhale to wave the body forward. Let's bring the knees back underneath the hips and the wrists back underneath the shoulders. Now, tucking the toes to the mat, toes tucked to the mat. Now, if you have painful feet, if you've had surgery on your feet, if you have arthritis in your feet, this may be as far as you go here. And if that's the case, this is a beautiful shape. If you feel like you have a little bit of room here in your feet, you can walk your hands back towards your knees, still keeping your hands in contact with the mat. Maybe you even put fists down on the floor, okay? Now, if you're saying to yourself, this is awesome, what else have you got? You can bring the body up, letting the hips rest towards the heels. The hands can rest open on the thighs. This can be a great time for a prop. So grabbing a brick, or if you're using a book, you can put this on the shelf that you're creating with your calves. And I'm using it on its lowest side, hamburger style. And then setting the hips down on the brick. Now, if you are in pain, then you need to come out of this pose. You need to bring your hands down to the floor. However, if you're just a little frustrated, okay, just a little bit antsy, that's going to pass. Find something to look at that's not going to move, and let that space be everything that you see. It's called a drishti, a gazing point. Coming back to the breath. Sometimes in our yoga classes, we learn to sit with a little bit of discomfort. We should never, ever work into pain. But sometimes things can feel a little challenging. We learn to use our breath. We learn to listen to our bodies. We learn to not push past our limits. Now, to come out of this pose, if you're up like I am, let's take the brick out from behind us if you're using it. Set it off to the side. And now let's bring the hands back down to the floor. So we're all meeting here with the hands down on the mat. We'll walk the hands out underneath the shoulders and untuck the toes. And let's move the feet. Maybe it feels nice to gently tap, tap, tap the feet out against the mat. From here, let's pay attention to core strength. So before we move on here, I want you in your mind's eye to think about the points of your hips, so the bony prominence at the front of the hip, and your pubic bone as the 3 points of a triangle. And then imagine that you can pull those points of the triangle a little closer together. So we're engaging the muscles of the belly, lifting up and in on the lower abdominals, holding baby tight, holding baby close. So keeping that kind of core engagement. Let's reach the left hand forward like we're reaching to shake somebody's hand. Thumb extends towards the ceiling and fingers spread wide. Now, if this feels safe, if you've got your balance, maybe you extend your right leg long behind. Oh, I mentioned knowing where your props are, and then I kicked my props. There we go. We're going to push those out of the way. So leg extends long, left arm extends long. Holding here, paying attention to that core strength, pulling those 3 points of the triangle closer together, holding baby close. Now, paying attention to the left pinky and the right big toe. Let's lower the pinky and toe down to the floor, and then inhale to come up. Let's do this again. Exhale to come down. Inhale to come up. Couple more times. Exhale to come down. Inhale to come up. Last time. Inhale to come up. Now pause here. Keep this right leg extended. Let's bring the left hand back underneath the left shoulder. Let your right toes touch down to the floor. We'll allow the arch of the right foot to come down. This is going to shift weight into the left hand, left knee. Let's allow the right hand to open, chest and hips open towards the side, coming to our supported side plank. Now, you can stay right here. Again, paying attention to that core awareness. If holding the right arm up feels lousy, bring the right hand to the right hip. Staying here, or if it feels safe, we can start to lift up this right foot, flexing that foot like we want to stand on the wall across the room, engaging the muscles of the thigh. Remembering to breathe. Now, if you took this option to have this right foot lifted, let's float this right foot back down to the floor. We'll bring the right hand back down to the mat, closing the chest, closing the hips. Draw the right knee in underneath the right hip. Let's allow the big toes to touch, knees come out to a V, sink down for a child's pose, and take your rest. And then inhale to wave the body forward, coming back to this hands and knees posture, this tabletop pose. Again, bringing that core awareness in here, pulling those 3 points of that triangle closer together, holding baby tight. Let's extend the right hand out like we're reaching to shake somebody's hand. Thumb towards the ceiling, fingers spread wide. When you've got your balance here, when it feels safe, we can extend the left leg long behind, coming to our bird dog. I've heard this called balancing table or sunburst. And now drawing attention to the right pinky, left big toe. Let's allow those digits to touch down to the floor. Inhale to come up. Exhale. Inhale to come up. Exhale. Inhale to come up. Last time. Inhale to come up and pause. Bring the right hand back underneath the right shoulder. Set that left foot down on the mat. Now let's allow the arch of the left foot to come down to the floor. Shifting weight to the right knee, right hand. Allow the chest and hips to open towards the side. Left arm lifts. Again, if holding the arm up feels lousy, bring that left hand to the left hip. You can stay right here, keeping those core muscles strong. Or if it calls to you, you can lift up that left leg. Again, strong thigh, strong belly. Breathing. Now, let's allow this left foot to float back down to the mat, softly and gently. Close the chest, close the hips towards the floor, bringing that left hand underneath the left hip, tucking that left knee back underneath the left hip. Let's allow the toes to come closer together, knees come out to the side, letting the hip shift back, child's pose. Now, let's inhale to wave the body forward, bringing wrists back underneath shoulders, knees back underneath hips. Now, I've grabbed my bricks here, and you're welcome to do so as well. We're getting ready to come to downward facing dog. If you have very long legs or very tight hamstrings, using bricks to get the floor up just a little bit higher can feel very nice. You do not have to use them if you don't want to. Now, if you don't want to do down dog, if it hurts you or if you just don't like it, you can stay here in tabletop. However, if down dog's your jam or if it's something you want to try, let's tuck the toes to the mat. We'll spread the fingers wide and engage the muscles of the belly. Again, holding baby close. When you're ready, breathe in, and with your exhale, let's send the hips up and back. Let the heels descend down towards the floor. Maybe separate the feet a little wider, making room for the belly. Think about bringing the ears in between the biceps, strong thighs, strong core. Lots of breath. Now, options. You can look up and walk your feet towards your hands. You can look back towards your feet and walk your hands to your feet. Or you can do what I'm going to do here and do a combination of the two. Coming to our first forward fold. Now, in forward fold, the feet should be a comfortable distance apart. Make room for your belly, so feel free to get a little wider base, allowing the crown of the head to come down towards the floor. Let's take a moment here and just kind of rock back and forth on the feet. Rock back and forth on the feet. Gentle bend in the knees helps to protect the low back. And then let your weight settle towards the ball mount of your foot. Enjoying that gentle stretch in the back of the legs. And then let's inhale to peek up through a half lift. So the hands come to the shins, the back is flat. The eyes can look forward or down towards the mat, depending on the health and comfort of your neck. And then exhale to release and fold. Let's press down to the feet, reach up through the hands. The palms will kiss overhead. Maybe the eyes look up at those joined hands. And then exhale to draw the hands to heart center, to the sign of prayer. Now, when we come to standing, there's a couple things I'd like to go over for safety. Number one, if you have tender shoulders and you don't want to lift your arms up repetitively, you don't have to. You can bring your hands to a cactus arm, and that's fine. If raising your arms up and looking up at those joined hands in an upward salute creates too much of a back bend, you don't have to do that. Keep your eyes looking forward instead of up, and you won't take such a back bend. The third thing is folding forward. If folding forward and doing so repetitively feels crunchy on the low back, don't feel like you have to do it. Don't bend so far. When we come to forward fold, bring your hands to your thighs. When we peek up through a half lift, lift your heart, lift your gaze. When we exhale to fold, bring your chin towards your chest and root down to rise. Bringing the hands to heart center, to the sign of prayer. Let's take a moment to find our mountain pose. So let's put the ankles underneath the hip bones, the bony prominence at the front of the body. Engaging the muscles of the thighs, let's root the feet down to the floor, holding the belly in, shoulders down. Hands can be down here by your sides, or if it's a gesture, if it's a shape that you like, you can draw the hands to heart center, to the sign of prayer. If you have a tendency to kind of sway back and forth on your feet here, see if you can bring yourself to this solid base, to this really still standing posture. This is Tadasana. Mountain pose, posture that teaches us resilience. It teaches us constancy. It shows us how to be strong and to stand firm. All things that are going to be important to you as you move into your role as a parent. Now let's inhale to let the arms sweep up. Big breath in. And then exhale to release and fold. Inhale to peek up through a half lift. Hands to the shins, back is flat. Exhale to release and fold. Root down to rise, down through the heels and up through the hands. The palms kiss. Draw the hands to heart center. Let's do this again. Inhale, let the arms sweep up. Exhale to release and fold. Inhale to peek up through a half lift. Exhale to release and fold. Root down to rise, down through the heels and up through the hands. The palms kiss. Draw the hands to heart center. We're going to do this one more time and then we'll add on. Inhale, let the arms sweep up. Exhale to release and fold. Inhale to peek up through a half lift. Exhale to release and fold. Root down to rise, down through the heels and up through the hands. The palms kiss. Draw the hands back to heart center to the sign of prayer. Now shifting weight into your left foot. Let's allow the right foot to step back for a lunge. Now this can take one step or it can take a couple steps, okay? As many steps as you need to get that foot back there. Let's allow the left knee to be over the left ankle. The back heel is gently lifted if you can. We're holding the belly in strong. Let's inhale to let the arms sweep up, interlacing the fingers over the head, letting the pointer fingers stay out and the thumbs cross. I always say this reminds me of Charlie's Angels. Biceps alongside the ears. Now, staying strong through the core, holding baby close, pulling those 3 points of that triangle, those 2 hip points in the pelvic bone closer together. Let's start to bring the whole torso forward, bringing the fingers forward, keeping the biceps alongside the ears, bringing a little more weight to the left heel, left thigh. Reach here. And then let's inhale to come up. As we come up, let's move through center. Let the eyes gently start to drift up. Go slow. Coming to a gentle back bend. Breathe in here, and with the exhale, let's draw the hands to heart center. Let the eyes look forward. Bring the right foot forward to meet the left. Come back to your Tadasana. So how did you feel when you changed your gaze? Did you notice that your balance was a little bit different? Maybe had to engage the core muscles just a little bit more. Let's inhale to let the arms sweep up. Exhale to release and fold. Inhale to peek up through a half lift. Exhale to release and fold. Root down to rise, down through the heels and up through the hands. The palms kiss. Draw the hands to heart center. We're going to take this to the other side. So weight shifts into the right foot. Left foot steps back for the lunge. Now again, this can be one big step back, or this can be a couple steps back, okay? However, you do it safely and comfortably. Let's keep the right knee over the right ankle. Back heel is gently lifted. We'll inhale to let the arms sweep up, allowing the fingers to interlace. Pointer fingers stay out, biceps alongside the ears. Breathe in here. With the exhale, let's start to move the torso forward, keeping the straight spine, reaching through the fingertips, reaching through the crown of the head. Breathe. Strong in the belly, strong in the back. And then let's inhale to start to move back through center, gently lifting the eyes. Careful, careful, careful. Breathe in, and with your exhale, draw the hands to heart center. Bring the left foot forward to meet the right. Come back to your tall, neutral standing posture to Tadasana. Let's inhale to let the arms sweep up. Exhale to release and fold. Inhale to peek up through a half lift. Exhale to release and fold. Root down to rise, down through the heels and up through the hands. The palms kiss. Draw the hands to heart center. Adding on here. We'll root down through the left foot. Right foot steps back on the mat for the lunge. Now, we're going to treat this posture like a connecting flight instead of like a final destination, okay? Left knee over left ankle. let's allow the mental awareness to go to the right heel. Let's allow the right heel to drift down towards the back left corner of the stance. And I usually have to widen my stance a little bit, moving from lunge to warrior. If you find that you have to as well, that's fine. So I have my knee over my ankle, toes are pointing forward and back. If I look down at my right foot is parallel or turned in gently. What you don't want is that right foot facing out and away from you. Let's allow the arms to go forward and back. Chest and hips open towards the right side of the mat. Holding the belly in, lift up through the muscles of the perineum. So I'm talking about the muscles between the genitals and the anus. We're lifting up on that low core. In yoga, that's called Mula Bandha. Keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, remembering the breath. In Warrior 2, we're called to a very strong, active body and a very quiet mind. Oftentimes it's that second one that gives us trouble. Let's add a little movement to our warrior here. So let's straighten the left leg. Let the palms kiss overhead. Maybe you look up at those joined hands. And then exhale, sink down, Warrior 2. We bring the knee back over the ankle. Arms go forward and back. Let's do this again. Inhale. Exhale, sink down, Warrior 2. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, Warrior 2. Look out over your left middle finger. Couple more. Or 1 more, excuse me. Exhale, sink down, Warrior 2. Now to come out of this posture, take your attention to your right leg. We'll bring the right hand down in front of the body like a pendulum on a clock. Bring that right foot back to center. Arms sweep up. Here's our lunge. Let's draw the hands to heart center. Right foot steps forward to left, coming back to your tall stance. And maybe give your feet just a little shake, 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 just a little wiggle. We'll take this to the other side. Inhale, let the arms sweep up. Exhale to release and fold. Inhale to pick up through a half lift. Exhale to release and fold. Root down to rise, down to the heels and up through the hands, the palms kiss. Draw the hands to heart center. Shifting weight to the right foot. Left foot steps back for our lunge. Now again, remembering we're moving through this posture, we're not staying here. So taking your awareness to that left heel. Let's allow that left heel to drift down towards the back right corner of the mat. Chest and hips open to the side, right knee over right ankle. Here's Warrior 2. Now I've got that knee over ankle alignment. My left foot is turned in gently or parallel. Holding the belly in, lifting up through the perineum. Now straighten that right leg, palms kiss, inhale. Exhale, sink down, Warrior 2. Let's do this again. Inhale. Exhale, sink down, Warrior 2. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, sink down, Warrior 2. Last time. Inhale. When we come down, the knee goes over the ankle, not out past the toes. Stay here just a moment. Now let's bring the left hand down in front of the body. Pivot that left foot to center. Arms sweep up. Here's our lunge. Draw the hands to heart center. Left foot steps forward to meet right, coming back to your tall neutral stance. Let's inhale to let the arms sweep up. Exhale to release and fold. Inhale to pick up through a half lift. Exhale to release and fold. Now, bending the knees enough that you can either get your hands down to bricks or to the floor. Let's step one knee down and then the other knee down, coming to tabletop. And now here, let's allow the hips to come over to whichever side suits you. So you're seated on your back side, feet around in front. Now let's build our Baddha Konasana. Let's allow the soles of the feet to come closer together. If you're barefoot like I am, the arches can separate gently like you're looking down at a partially open book. The closer your feet are to your body, the more stretch there'll be on your inner thighs. The further your feet are away, the more stretch there is on the outer thigh and hip. So you have some control of the locus of intensity as to where you want the stretch. Now, for some people, just sitting here is a lot of stretch. If you are uncomfortable, you don't even have to do this, okay? And you certainly don't have to forward fold. However, if you would like to try to forward fold, this is how you do that. You inhale to let the arms sweep up, lift up the lower ribs, and with the exhale, keeping a fairly straight spine, start to offer the heart towards the earth. Let the hands fall where you fall, or where they fall, excuse me, and then let the chin come towards the chest. Feeling the beat of your heart. Depending on where you are in your pregnancy, you might feel some movement of the baby. And then let's use the inhale to walk the hands back towards the body. And let's extend the feet out long in front of you and just give them a little shake, shake, shake. Some internal, external rotation from the hip if that feels nice. And we're going to start to prepare for our Shavasana. Now, when you are expecting, Shavasana can be done a couple different ways. The first is to come back to how we did our first initial postures and building that little bit of a ski slope with our props. So I'm reaching for my bolster, or if you are using bed pillows, this would be the time for those. And again, we take one of our bricks or our books and we put it on its tall side. And then we take a brick on its lowest side and put it a few inches down from that top brick. Again, remember, we're kind of making that ski slope here. And then putting the low back and hips right up against that bed pillow or against that bolster if you have one. Tucking the chin towards the chest, holding that bolster in place, and lying back on those props. And then creating that comfortable shape with your legs. So maybe crossing the legs, crisscross applesauce, having them long. It might be nice to grab your blankie and cover up. However, if this isn't calling to you, if you're like, I just don't know if that feels the best right now, you are free to lay down on your left side, and maybe you use your blanket for a little bit of a pillow, and maybe you use your bolster as a hugger, and maybe you put one of your bricks in between your knees. So sometimes coming to Shavasana in any body, but especially in a pregnant body, can take a little bit of wiggling. So give yourself a moment to find your comfortable shape. When we come to the practice of Shavasana, we come to the practice of stillness. We do our best not to itch or wiggle or fidget. And instead, we cultivate this discipline of quiet stillness. So much of our life we spend in a fight or flight response, in a stress response. And when we come to Shavasana, we make time for what's called the parasympathetic response. This is when the body is allowed to rest, to heal, to come out of that fight, flight, or freeze. Take a few moments here to rest, to feel close to your baby, to feel the goodness of your body and the goodness of your practice. Enjoy these moments for you. And now starting to bring some wiggles back to your fingers and your toes. Maybe taking a little deeper breath and letting it go with a gentle HA. And then using your hands for support, whether you are lying supported on props or you're laying on your left side, using your hands for support to come up to your comfortable seat. I'm going to sit cross-legged, but you can sit in a butterfly shape. You can sit with your legs extended out long in front of you, kind of in this V shape, in this straddle. Whatever's comfortable for you. Again, as long as the hip bones touch down to the floor or to your blanket, and as long as the spine is nice and long. Let's close and seal our practice. So your hands can rest open on your knees, or if it's a gesture, if it's a shape that you're comfortable making, you can bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, the sign of prayer. I'd ask you to close your eyes and give a little bow of your chin. One of my favorite mantras from Sanskrit goes, Loka samusta sukhi no bhavantu. Loka samusta sukhi no bhavantu. And in English, those words mean, may all beings be happy and free. And that is my prayer for our world. And that is my prayer for you as we go our separate ways. Namaste, yogis. Thank you very much.